Hi everybody, Dan Bobet here. I am on the cemetery board out at Greenview Cemetery, and I'll be coming off this year of the board, but there are a couple of things I wanted to mention before I leave that board. Now, right off the bat, I'd like to congratulate Wesley Miller for winning Precinct 1 Commissioner's race and wish Mickey Barker all the best in his future endeavors. Let me be the first to talk directly to Wesley. I'm out here on County Road 1168, and let me register the first complaint about a bumpy road out here. Because, you know, you can see this road has a lot of patching on it. It is a county road. There's a lot of county roads off of 1567 that are just like this. So if you can do something about that when you take office, we would greatly appreciate it, because we think out here at the cemetery board that the last quarter mile of your trip should not be a bumpy one, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so I've got some other concerns with the community room, some things that you want to consider before the July meeting. So let's go down to the community room, and I'll talk to you about what I'm thinking, okay? All right, see you there. Well, hi there everybody. Here we are at the community room. I call it the community room, but it's really the Greenview Church Fellowship Hall. I hope you can hear me okay. We do have a little wind going on here, and I apologize for that. But anyway, I'd like to go in here and take a look at it. You can see on the window here we have the rates for renting this room. $125. That's nothing these days, you know. So if you've got a party that you need, this is the place to come. This community room has some history in it, but not a lot. I would suggest that it doesn't do the community justice. What I would like to see as we go in here, well, let's go in and take a look around, okay? Come on, follow me. Let's go. All right, that's a little bit better. Thanks for following me in here. Hey, as you look around, you see not a lot on the walls. There's not a lot on the walls. Now, over in this, we've got a little area over here. Let me show you that. Let me turn you a little bit that way to see what we've got over there. There's a quilt that's a historic piece. Evidently, they framed it in this 9,000 pound frame that we're trying to figure out how to hang up. Anyway, what I'm suggesting is that the families around here, there's a lot of history. This is a historic site. This should represent the families that have lived here for generations and for decades. So if you've got pictures of what was going on around here, maybe family photos out in the field, family photos on the day when everybody comes over here to do work in the cemetery, from days gone by, real old stuff, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, doesn't matter, and 18, 60, 70, 80s, that's fine too. I think this place would be greatly enhanced if it became a historic center for the cemetery. Let's put some pictures up here, different families, and let's call those families out. Let's put them on the wall. If you can supply us with an 8x10 matte finished picture, you know, you can get those at Walmart or Walgreens pretty cheap. Cheap frame. We'll hang that stuff up here. Just let me know. I'll be happy to coordinate that. Anyway, so, and now I have talked to Chad Hinton about all of this stuff. So this should be not a surprise to anybody. But think about that. Bring it to the meeting in July. Yeah, bring it. Let me know. Give me a call. you can do that. My number's posted on the gate out here. So anyway, so that's what I like to see out here. Let's honor the history of this land. It's a rich history. Whether you realize it or not, your family legacy is here. We need to preserve it. All right? So, having said all that about this, and speaking of the church, let's go take a look at the church, okay? Come on with me. Follow me out the door. Let's go take a look at the church. All right, thanks for following me over to the church. Let's go inside because it's kind of windy out here and I want you to be able to hear what I have to say. All right, now we're inside the church. This is a beautiful old church. It's a non-denominational church, and when it was originally constructed, it was the community center for the local area. They did all kinds of things here, right in this spot. So, here's my thoughts on this. And part of this comes from my friend Cletus Millsap. Gives me a call every now and then. We talk about these things. The Texas Historical Society can help restore this building to its original shape. But we have to contact them. We have to get in touch with them, and we have to ask for help. Now, I'm sure, this thing is clad in all vinyl siding, which shows evidence of being a little bit old and starting to deteriorate. So we need to do something about that sooner than later, or we're going to lose this church. I know in this area we have a lot of termites. I live a block away. I got termites all over the place, so we have to remediate all that as well. This vinyl siding is not original. We should and can restore this church to its original state. Inside and out, termite repair, and make sure that we have a sound building here for future generations. Now, we are getting a lot more population in this area. We do need to secure this building. We don't need the typical things that happen to buildings in the city that are not monitored on 100% of the time, where you have people tagging and whatever they do, and breaking in and destroying things. We don't need that. We don't want that. We need to preserve this building. It is a historical site, and I think it's incumbent upon us to lead that charge. Anyway, I got some things I want to mention about the cemetery as well. We've done a lot of improvements over the last couple of years. With the Vidito donations to move the fence and extend the cemetery out, we're in a position now to prepare probably the next 100 years worth of graves out here, as well as finishing the road. That road that we had around the cemetery was unsafe, which is a huge liability to the Cemetery Association. We have people that are not ambulatory, they're coming out here, they're walking down that road, and we want to make sure that they don't trip and fall and hurt themselves. That's why we do what we do, to keep it safe. Now, we have had one incident of a child running around the cemetery. Maybe that was wrong, maybe whatever, but it's hard to tie up kids when they're at the cemetery. And a headstone fell over and injured that child. So we need to take care of business on leaning headstones. Now, I know what the bylaws say. The bylaws say that the families are responsible for taking care of the headstones and making sure that they're clean and in good shape. People die, people move away, and in some cases, the entire family that would take care of the headstones is buried in the graveyard. And we need to be cognizant of the fact that people also move away. In some cases, people have moved away and they have reserved cemetery plots here that they will never be buried in. Good example, my own parents. They bought 2 cemetery plots at this beautiful cemetery that overlooks the Pacific Ocean in San Mateo County. They're buried in Indiana. My brother and I are still trying to figure out what to do with those 2 cemetery plots. Anyway, so we need to be a little more aware of what's going into the ground. Now, my understanding is that years ago, we were a free cemetery and some people got buried out here. We don't even know for sure where they're at. So, having talked to Brad McCool, who coordinates all the burials out here, we kind of do a hit and miss when we're picking out grave sites. The grave digger comes out and digs a grave. Who knows if he's going to find somebody already in that spot. So we need to map this cemetery. Now, if you spend any time out here and you looked at the cemetery, there is a curved line of graves out there, right in the middle of the cemetery, which kind of screws up our mapping. But having said that, we aren't necessarily too sure of who's in the ground out here. We could really use some ground penetrating radar to identify what grave plots are out there. This may be something that comes up at the general meeting. You might have to vote on this. Ground penetrating radar is not cheap. So if anybody out there, I know we're in oil country, I know we're in mining country, anybody out there has ground penetrating radar that they can donate to our cause to identify the graves that are out here, we want to hear from you. We really need to do that. But otherwise, Brad and I are planning on coming out here and mapping the entire cemetery. We need help doing that. We also need volunteers. We need volunteers to help us come out and document who is buried and where. And then we need to mark our rows correctly and maintain a map from that point forward. Now, we do have a good database that Brad maintains, and I've got to hand it to him. He does an excellent job. But you know what? He's got little kids. He can't be out here all the time, so we need an understudy for Brad. Now, he suggested me. I'm almost 70 years old. That's not a solution. We need somebody who's a little bit younger, half my age would be good, to come out and learn what Brad does and then work with him to eventually perhaps take it over. I don't know if he wants to give it up completely or not, but we need help. So lawn care situation, we resolved that, but at a little bit higher cost. The guy we had coming out here who low bid it, really wanted the job, didn't perform. So we have moved on from that and replaced him with somebody who really does a pretty good job. So let us know if it's above or below standard for you and your family. Let's see, what else is on this? I made a little script here. Expenses need to be considered coming up. We have a lot of aging volunteers. If you look at our board, we're up there. We're up there a ways. So we need young people to step up. We'd appreciate it. So on the other side of that, headstone preservation. We have some headstones out there that are about ready to topple over. And I can show you examples of it, but I want you to come out here and take a look at it. We got some beautiful headstones that are beginning to, tilt over. The ground out here is not stable. We need to have a stable base under those headstones. And some of them are getting old to the point where you can barely read them. So we need to do some work with some of the headstones that are out there, but the families may not be present in order to do that. So what's my suggestion? We can pay people to do that, but it sounds like whenever we pay for something, there's a problem with using the money that's been given to maintain the cemetery over the decades. So this may be a question that comes up at the July meeting. You need to be prepared to vote one way or the other on that, and then it'll be done. What else? Preventative maintenance. We need a solid plan for future headstones, leveling of headstones, and to assure ground level. I have a friend's headstone out there. His stepdad was a Pearl Harbor survivor. His headstone was completely buried out there. I had to come out there and dig it up. His footstone, completely buried, completely covered up with probably 4 inches of mud, dirt. Whether it was placed there or whether it washed there, it doesn't matter. We need to honor these people appropriately, and that is not appropriate. Now, our general meeting is Saturday before Memorial Day. The issue will come up about urns and cremations, and do we need a mausoleum? Not everybody wants to be buried in the ground. If we had a mausoleum, there would be a lot of people that would probably use it, and it wouldn't take up valuable graveyard space. Having said this about that, for the volunteers, we need board members. We need people to come out and help with wreaths across America. We need to map the cemetery. We need somebody to fill in for Brad McCool, who coordinates all the burials out here, and he does a fantastic job. He's very dedicated to doing this work, but he's got young kids, so we need to update the map in the database. We need to mark graves, and part of that is he marks graves that are to be opened in advance of the funeral, and then he also coordinates the burials. We need somebody to learn that aspect of this and to help him when necessary. So, having said all this about that, come to the July meeting prepared to work, because we got stuff to do out here. We do. Anyway, my name is Dan Bobay. I am coming off the board, but my number is on the wall out here, on the gate, by the gate. If you have any questions or comments, you can reply to this video. Certainly I'll monitor that, and let me know what you think. I appreciate you. And we will see you in July. Talk to you later. Have a great day.